Welcome, my name is John Finnemore, here to tell you how the Spirit teachers of the Universal Spiritual Brother and Sisterhood, or the USB for short, communicated with us. Michael Flagg, who lived from 1903 to 1992, was the chosen receiver of all the USB afterlife wisdom. I understand he previously worked in spirit life with the USB leadership and volunteered to live on Earth to serve in this way. Michael did not know this in his early years, but later, while living in California, he became interested in afterlife communication, and somehow those spirit leaders managed to convince him to visit England, where he was relatively unknown, and to make appointments with a few of the world's truly outstanding mediums, chosen by those leaders, not by Michael. Mediums are advanced psychics who work knowingly with spirit helpers. Because these communicators were of such great spiritual advancement, to be able to communicate with Michael directly without using any relays or intermediaries that might change their words, they needed mediums who were not only highly skilled in their mediumship, but more importantly, were very spiritual people, by which I mean they had nobility of spirit and character. I have learned that those USB inspirers also had to overcome tremendous difficulties and hardships to be able to reach down to our earthly environment from their refined and elevated realms. This was somewhat like descending into murky waters in a clumsy deep-sea diving suit. They endured this with so much love. Some of them denied themselves earned progression to higher levels in order to remain able to communicate directly. In 1956 and 1957, Michael had private sittings with at least 4 different mediums in England. Most of those sittings were with the best known two, the brilliant, independent direct voice medium, Leslie Flint, and the exceptional trance medium, Estelle Roberts. All but the first 2 sittings with Leslie Flint were tape recorded. We plan to make those recordings available to the public, and I'll discuss them in another video. What the distinguished guide of Estelle Roberts said was written down by her daughter and then typed up. The transcripts are in the USB files. If you're interested, both of these mediums have published their autobiographies. Through those mediums, the spirit teachers spoke with Michael just as he would in normal conversation. He would bring a list of over 30 questions, which they proceeded to answer before he asked them. At first, it was very hard for Michael to believe the exceptionally high spiritual stature of his communicators and what they told him. On many days, Michael had 2 sittings, so that before long, those communicators became very well known to him. During those sittings, they gave Michael most of the USB's aims, plans, and principles, and introduced some teachings. They instructed Michael as to how they wanted him to establish a USB organization on Earth. He did this in late 1956. Michael's preface in the USB's book, Spiritual Light, gives a number of excerpts from those early conversations. Back in the USA, Michael in 1959 somehow met the wonderful deep trance medium Ruth Cunningham from New York State. Not only was her mediumship highly developed, but she was also an extremely spiritual person, though not well known. After working with Michael for a while, she decided to devote the rest of her life to serving the USB. For over 25 years, Ruth and Michael sat together regularly and frequently for spirit communication. With Ruth in a deep or unconscious trance, her spirit doorkeeper allowed spirit people to take turns speaking through her vocal cords to Michael. They could hear Michael, so once they mastered the art of speaking through Ruth, they had natural conversations. Their primary objective was to get Michael their agreed afterlife wisdom that they wanted him to share with the world. Sittings typically lasted about 45 minutes, and Michael tape recorded many hundreds of them, but few now remain. Activities at Michael's sittings included many discussions of philosophy and teachings, occasional personal discussions, reviews of proposed USB newsletters, and visits by guest speakers, including spiritual and philosophical figures of past times on earth, some very renowned. Of the more than 50 different speakers, some spoke many dozens of times. One spoke over 140 times to my knowledge. The spirit teachers did not dictate their teachings, but they discussed them with Michael and asked him to write them up in the language of his times. But they reviewed his draft newsletters, often on a word-by-word basis, before they approved them for distribution. All of this communication, delivered over a period of 30 years, coming from a united group of such highly advanced souls with the many challenges and difficulties they faced, together constitute a rare and historic event. We should be immensely grateful to them and to Michael and Ruth. After Michael and Ruth had returned to spirit life, during a long-distance telephone call in 2011 with my sister, a British accredited medium, she was unexpectedly taken over by a USB spirit representative who addressed me. He thanked me for my dedication to the book and provided good evidence by mentioning some aspects of my work that my sister did not know. He said that spirit helpers had been inspiring my editing work on spiritual light to get the results they wanted. Thank you for your interest in the Brother and Sisterhood's spirit communication. I look forward to telling you more about its spirit teachings in future videos.